Welcome to the April 2nd, 2024 school committee meeting.
2025.
2025. Sorry. 2025 school committee meeting. Item 1.1, district vision and core values. District vision: the Barnstable Public Schools educates the whole child by creating a student-centered school culture that addresses students' physical, social, emotional, and academic needs by creating a safe and healthy learning environment in which students are challenged, supported, and engaged. Core values. In Barnstable Public Schools, we value commitment, collaboration, and community. Commitment. We are dedicated to the continuous learning and growth for all. Collaboration. We work together while keeping student needs at the center of all decision-making. Community. We build strong, respectful partnerships that support student success. Statement by the chair. Video or audio recording of meeting. This school committee meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Okay, great. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. This evening's Pledge of Allegiance is led by Centerville Elementary School students.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1.4, student envy report from our Centerville Elementary students. This evening we have the pleasure of having Kirill Ernov. I apologize if I pronounced your name. Ira. Helena Klinger, Vaughn Douglas, Landon Kelly, Race DeBarros, and Paxton Lane. Welcome.
So we have our bees here to give you some information. So Kirill and Helena are going to start with some past buzz from Centerville.
Hi, my name is Kirill Ayurov, and I'm a third grade student in Miss Smith's class. On March 12th, Centerville Elementary held its first annual multicultural night. This amazing event was organized by Miss Stanley and was very successful. Over 200 people attended. Our cafeteria was filled with a sampling of food from many different countries, including Brazil, Italy, Lebanon, Mexico, and the United States. We are so grateful for the community members who not only donated food but served it as well. There are also many activities and cultures on display throughout the school. We had Vietnamese lantern painting, pure mask making, stories from Ireland, and Manicala and coloring from Cape Verde. A Wampanoag princess joined the Hyannis Public Library in our library. France, Haiti, Bulgaria, Jamaica, China, Latin America, and the U.S. were represented with a wide variety of activities. It was great to have many Barnstable High School students sharing information about their countries of heritage. I was very proud to share information about my country of heritage, Russia.
Hi,
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Helena Klingler. I am also a third grade student in Miss Smith's class. I would like to share a little more information about our multicultural night. Not only did we have music from Brazil, we also had the Sturgis Portuguese Club share stories, cartoons, and food. We got a passport when we came in the door and got stickers by visiting the stations of different countries. We were also given raffle tickets. We put the raffle tickets in bags, and the next day, winners were chosen. Many thanks to Dr. Aaron and Miss Karina de Silva for attending. We are so thankful for everyone who helped and attended. It was a fun night, and we plan on doing it again next year.
Elena's also going to
Thank
read
you.
this to you in her native language as well.
Oh, terrific.
Olá, meu nome é Helena Klingler. Também sou uma aluna do terceiro ano na classe da Senhora Smith. Gostaria de compartilhar um pouco mais de informação sobre nossa noite multicultural. Não só tivemos música do Brasil, também tivemos o Sturges Português Clube compartilhar histórias, desenhos animados e comida. Recebemos um passaporte quando entramos e ganhamos adesivos visitando as estações dos diferentes países. Também ganhamos bilhetes de rifa. Colocamos bilhetes de rifa em sacolas e no dia seguinte os vencedores foram escolhidos. Muito obrigado a doutora Arrin e a senhora Karina da Silva por compareceram. Somos muito gratos a todos que ajudaram e compartilharam. Foi uma noite muito divertida e planejamos fazer isso novamente no ano que vem.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have with current buzz, Vaughn and Landon.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Douglas. I am a third grade student in Miss Moen's class. Each month, students at Centerville work on a B skill. For example, last month we worked on being empathetic, which is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. When you empathize, you imagine what someone else is thinking or feeling. At the end of the month, we have a celebration and awards are given to our teacher-nominated Super Bs. Some of these skills may be to new students, especially our kindergartners. Every month, Mr. G, our social worker, adds new kindergarten students to its FLOC group. FLOC stands for Future Leaders of Centerville. These students interview staff and ask them to share their definitions or examples of the current skill. They make a short movie with the interviews, which is shared with all kindergarten students. This is a great way for our youngest students to learn about our B skills.
Hi, my name is Lennon Kelly.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lennon Kelly. I'm a future student in Mr. Preston's class. And
Go Red Sox.
Are you a future leader of Centerville?
I'm a future leader of Centerville.
Good job. And finally,
Thank
with some
you.
future buzz of Centerville, we have Royce and Paxton.
Hi, my name is Royce DeBarros. I'm a third grade student in Miss Howard and Miss Reed's third grade class. We are very lucky to have been awarded a Cobb grant to bring our butterfly garden back to life. Mr. Caskey, our science and technology teacher, wrote the grant and is helping us with this project. Students are working inside and outside to make our garden beautiful again. Our ILC students have been planting seeds and painting birdhouses in the makerspace. We will be weeding and planting with the help of community volunteers and a Barnstable school, high school student intern. We will not only have a garden to attract butterflies, but we will also have feeders for deer and have a trail cameras to help us watch the visitors.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Paxton Lane. I am a third grade student in Miss Casey's and Miss Kay's class. We have been picked to hold the Arbor Day celebration on May 2nd. The town will be helping us plant some new trees in the front of our school. We will have a celebration that afternoon with many people from the town. Maybe you could join us.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity to share the past, present, and future buzz at Centerville Elementary.
Thank you for coming. School committee comments, Peter?
No, that's what I want to say. Thank you all for coming. You guys are all great, Kirill and Helena and Vaughn and Landon, great. I love that empathy conversation you guys are having. And Royce and Paxton, great readers. Royce, you're the fastest reader I've ever seen in my life. Thank you all for coming.
Andre?
Great job, guys. Really excited to learn about this multicultural night that took place in the month of March and well attended, over 200 people. I have to ask, though, as we're moving into the spring, are there any school-wide activities, possibly a field day planned? Yes. Have field day coming up, date to be determined? And that was always a hit as the weather got nicer. And I know our students are going to go out there and perform well. Great job.
Mike?
It always, I think I say this every time, but it amazes me when the kids come up and talk because they're so less nervous than the adults when they come up and talk. The kids are, yeah, they're nervous a little bit, but like usually when adults come up and talk, they're like really like nervous. So it always amazes me. Great job. It's always hard to talk in front of people. So excellent job. You made it look so easy tonight. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for attending. I was not able to make the multicultural night, so I look forward to that next year. And can somebody tell me the date for the new trees celebration? May 2nd.
What I heard?
Right, Paxton, May 2nd?
May 2nd. Okay, I missed that, so I need to be a better listener. But thank you for coming. Thank you to the families for coming. Would you like to come up and get a picture? Yes. All right, come on up.
Guys, you need your papers, and you can go stand in front of the seal. Here, Vaughn, give me your papers, sweetie. There you go. Ready, Pax? Everybody get one? Oh.
Paxton, good job.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Seemed like a total natural.
All right, we also, moving on, have a student envoy report from Haley McWilliams because she was not able to make the last meeting. Is Haley here? Come on up, Haley. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry you missed last time, but we're happy to have you tonight.
Hi, my name is Haley and I'm a fourth grader at BUES. At BUES, our counselors are helping us learn about the zones of regulation, and I'm going to show you a little bit about them. These are all the zones, and all zones and feelings are okay. In the blue zone, you might feel tired, sick, or sad. You have low energy. In the green zone, you might feel calm, happy, okay, focused, proud, and relaxed. You have calm energy and a sense of control. In the yellow zone, you feel frustrated, energetic, worried, and annoyed. You have higher energy. In the red zone, you can be overjoyed, angry, terrified, furious, wild, or out of control. Your energy is extremely high, and you have the strongest feelings. And our body signals are clues about how we're feeling and what zone we're in. In the blue zone, our body might have foggy thinking or heavy muscles. In the green zone, you might have focused thinking or relaxed muscles. In the yellow zone, you would have faster thinking, a heart rate or tense muscles. In the red zone, you might have racing thoughts, pounding heart, and powerful muscles. When we have a trigger happen, we might have different feelings. Then we pause and take a deep breath to check what zone we are in. Then we use tools to help us regulate and calm down our feelings. These are some things around us that might help us. Everybody has different tools in their toolbox, like using fidgets or taking water or a snack break. We also have tools that are in our body, like taking deep breaths, talking with others, and taking a walk. Now I want you to practice doing a zones check-in. First, you're going to pause and take a deep breath. And figure out the signals in your body. And the emotion that you're feeling, and then you will match your signals and the feeling to one of your zones. Now we will share our zones like we do at our house meetings. Raise your hand if you're in the blue zone. Raise your hand if you're in the green zone. Raise your hand if you're in the yellow zone.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you're in the red zone. When we name our feelings and zones, we can use tools to calm down. When we are calm, we can focus and continue learning. I hope learning about the zones help everyone to regulate. And just remember, all zones are okay.
Nice.
Peter.
Haley, this is terrific. Can you go to that second slide? Is there any chance you can go to yes, the possible body signals. That's me in the morning, waking up. But I eventually get to the green zone. This has been marvelous, Haley. Thank you for making us all participate as well. You did a great job. You're a future teacher, I can tell.
Thank you.
Andre?
Yes, this is helpful information. I have to ask, at what point in the day do you do this? Does it happen in the morning or maybe after enrichment? Because checking in, that kind of mental inventory is important in elementary school and then for the rest of your life. So when do you use this?
My teacher usually does a zones check-in in the morning, so she knows what zones we're in, so she'll try to help us if we're not feeling great.
Yes. So you get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I apply it in the morning and I think throughout the day for me.
Mike?
Wow, that was awesome. Excellent job.
Thank
That
you.
was phenomenal. You knocked that one right out of the park. Awesome job. Top 5 ever, and I've been here forever, and that was top 5 ever. So that was fantastic. Good job.
Thank you.
You should be really proud of yourself. You did a really good job. Excellent.
So everybody can learn new things, and I certainly learned a lot tonight. It's really nice to hear. I'm so glad you came back to share this, because we've heard about zones of regulation, but not had as thorough of an explanation. So I appreciate that you came again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good seeing you.
All right. So item 2.1, Superintendent Academic Excellence Award recipients. Sarah?
Thank you. So our highlight in education today are the Superintendent's Certificate of Academic Excellence. I have the pleasure and honor to recognize 2 Barnstable High School seniors each year. That has to do with the size of our high school. Most other schools select 1. And it is sponsored by the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents. These awards are given to high school students who have distinguished themselves in the pursuit of excellence during their high school careers. The criteria are their 3-year cumulative average, their rank in class, and personal selection by the superintendent from the top 5%. And so tonight in the audience, we have a familiar face, Paloma Savanon. And she is one of the recipients of the Certificate of Excellence. And I do have a certificate tonight, Paloma. So I'll say a few words about Paloma. She's been the school committee student, one of the student envoys to the school committee for the past 2 years, representing BHS students, presenting concerns to the committee, and advocating for improvements. She has a weighted GPA of 4.6. She has completed 9 AP courses during her time at BHS. She is known for critical thinking, her synthesis of information. She's a member of the Math National Honor Society, the National Honor Society, and the French Honor Society. She's one of the most involved members of her graduating class, having been a student ambassador for 3 years, welcoming new students and welcoming students from the intermediate school. She has multilingual capabilities, and with her inclusive personality, builds a real sense of community. She has participated in the Gateway Future Problem Solvers program. She is a member of Student Council. While doing all of this, she works at a local clothing store and also plays field hockey for the Red Hawks. Her involvement isn't a bullet on her resume, according to her guidance counselor, but it's an obligation that she enjoys and enriches by her participation. She certainly has made a positive and significant impact on our school and is not satisfied until she leaves something better than she has found it. And so it is my pleasure to honor Paloma, who is off to Boston College in the fall, and she wants to study law. Congratulations, Paloma. And I don't think Nick could be here tonight. Would you like me to save it and see if we
Yes.
can invite him on another time?
Let's bring him
Okay.
back.
So we'll do
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And Nick and Paloma and I had dinner with other recipients and their superintendents at the Cape Cod Tech about 3 weeks ago. And it was really a nice celebration with their families.
It's great. Thank you. All right, and she returns for the student envoy report.
I was so confused when you were sitting back there. I was like, wait a minute.
I just like to surprise you. That's it.
I didn't know who you were back there. Now I know who you are. I didn't realize you were here.
In my natural element now. All right. So, Little Mermaid has concluded. I had the opportunity of watching one of the shows, and the cast was absolutely amazing. They're all so talented, and the production that they put on was amazing. Along productions, the fashion show is coming May 2nd. The seniors have the opportunity to show off their collections that they've been working on all years, and we have the entire year, and we have a variety of different designs and themes. I'm also going to be a part of that. Yay. I'm going to be doing the Spanish translation, so if you know Spanish or if you don't, just come just come watch. Spring sports have also kicked off. I know that I mentioned it last meeting, but they really have gone into full swing, especially with girls lacrosse winning their first game. And then last weekend, our future problem solvers went to states, and we look forward to seeing these results to see if any of our teams qualified for nationals. Commitment season for seniors is quickly approaching, with May 1st being the deadline. The decisions page is just posting new things, and it's so nice to see. And then my final thing, which is not school affiliated, but Senior Assassin has begun, and I am currently risking my life by not wearing my goggles. These are my goggles, but I wanted to look professional, so I didn't put them on. So if anyone water guns me in the back, I don't know what to say.
It
Thank
would
you.
have been kind of cool, though, if you were standing up here with the superintendent and they came
And then
in.
they just, yeah, that could have been a moment. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Peter, comments?
I just want to go back to your certificate of excellence, Paloma. That is absolutely fantastic. You've clearly left the mark at Barnstable High School. Student ambassador, gateway, field hockey, student council. Your GPA is ridiculous. If you add up 2 or 3 of my years, I don't get to 4.6. 9 APs. It's just sensational. You took advantage of everything that's offered at Barnstable High School, that's for sure. And this is the type of student we love to hear from. So congratulations and good luck at BC.
Thank you.
Andre?
Yes, go Eagles. I have family members, quite partial in the Boston area, Boston College, and then Boston University, so outstanding job. Just wanted to note, we have just under 50 days remaining in the year, and for seniors, it's less than that. So just want to see how is the mood, particularly for the seniors, because the finish line is quite close now in terms of graduation, prom, all of those other opportunities. How are we avoiding the senioritis as best as possible? To finish strong. That's how are things for the seniors, and then just generally speaking in the building.
Well, third term is ending on Monday, so I feel like everyone's just been invigorated to get their grades up. So that's kind of the energy right now, and especially with all the senior events coming up, senior week, and all the activities that we have planned, the senior field trip, I feel like morale is really high, and we're just in the final stretch right now.
Mike?
Yeah, I think, Peter, all 4 years I still didn't have a 4.6. Excellent job. Personally, I remember when you first came, because I think I was still a chair when you first started. And I remember, you've grown in this role unbelievably. I remember having that first conversation with the both of you, and it's that nervousness and kind of the wide-eyed, oh my God, and then you've kind of grown into it. So you've done a phenomenal job. You're very personable. You know what needs to be said, and you're not afraid to say it. And it's been kind of cool to see you grow into this, and I'm sure going to college you'll grow into that. And I got one question about college. So I know last year, just because I had a senior last year, I know it was kind of all messed up getting into colleges last year and all of that. How is it this year? Is it smoother? Is it kind of like worked out better?
I think it's definitely like a person by person basis. Like for me, I got all my applications in like a month early, so it was pretty seamless. But Riley was super last minute, so that was a little more chaotic for her.
Yep.
So I think it was really depending on the person, but FAFSA went pretty
But
smoothly.
as far as like, I mean, all of my kids did, what is it, early action or whatever it is, and it was, last year was still all messed up. So this year, if you did that, it was a little less stressful for kids as far as colleges. It kind of went back to the way it used to be.
I feel like that, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but I just
Not that it isn't stressful.
No,
I get it.
It was stressful. A lot of schools got a massive amount of applications, so
that's interesting.
that was more stressful. I know
that's
Northeastern got over 100,000, so that was a lot, but pretty
That's
smooth.
interesting. Yeah. Okay. I was just curious. Like as a dad, I was just kind of curious how it's going. So, but yeah, congratulations. Good luck. You'll be. What is this? April. So will you come to the May meeting?
Yeah, I will be here.
Okay. Good. Nice seeing you.
All right, congratulations on all of your achievements. And are you playing a sport at BC or putting that on the side?
I think I'm going to put it on the side. Field hockey
Have
was
enough
fun.
to do.
I'm not that athletic.
Right, right. And there's school law you can take up, if you want to stay connected to the schools. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank
See
you so
next
much.
month.
Have a good night.
Item 3.2, public comment. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and 30 minutes total. Public comment at Barnstable School Committee meeting is limited to the town of Barnstable residents, taxpayers, and Barnstable Public Schools employees, students, or family members. Speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes to present their material and must begin their comments by stating their name and city or town. An extension of the speaker's time may be granted at the discretion of the chair. There will be no debate or action taken on public comment items. The committee will take items under advisement, or the individual will request an item to be placed on a future agenda. The chair will also allow public comment at her discretion during the meeting. And come on up, Brooke.
Brooke Steich, teacher at Barnstable High School and president of the Barnstable Teachers Association. I'm here to address comments made after the budget presentation last meeting when a school committee member stated that, quote, we should be working together, should be swimming in the same direction, that we are not because of, quote, negotiating contracts. And she referred to, quote, dissonance, implying that teachers are not working with the committee and thus are at fault for the budget deficit. Then the member mentioned how the police took a zero during COVID as if to equate that to what is being discussed now, and these things do not equate. And in fact, that it's a misrepresentation of facts. BPD did not take a zero during COVID. They ended up in mediation, resulting in a 2% plus a partial year step adjustment. During COVID, the committee and the BTA were in the middle of negotiations when the world shut down. The committee had offered a meager 1%. But as we had to reinvent our entire working conditions for a safe return to school for the students in Barnstable, we chose to take the 1%, close the negotiation, focus on what was important at the time. We were most definitely working together. Then the committee member mentioned the 333 that we ratified in our last contract once again, implying that our 9% is dissonance and placing blame when in fact our 9% is the lowest percentage of any union in town. Your police ratified 16, DPW, Rec and Golf 13, and as a reminder, all of them make overtime. Educators do not. The entire system of public education only survives because of our unpaid labor. Just think if we submitted timesheets for our overtime. But somehow, we're not swimming in the same direction. And you know what? We do not begrudge the other unions in town. We all deserve a living wage. According to the Times article yesterday, to purchase a home in Barnstable right now, you need to make $192,000 annually. A teacher's starting salary is $58,602. A monthly mortgage for the lowest priced single-family home on the market in Barnstable right now is over $3,000 a month. I have been teaching here for 21 years. I have a master's degree plus. I take home less than that every 2 weeks, and I don't take the health insurance. Can you imagine being a newer educator and trying to build a life here? I cannot. So when we collectively bargain to increase our wages, we are not working against you. We are working to make it possible for our members to be part of this community. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that when we started the school year, we listened to our town manager celebrate how Barnstable is so financially secure, promising even. Most of the audience was shocked. So perhaps rather than attacking collective bargaining and rather than blaming the educators who are working every day for the children of Barnstable, maybe it's time to ask the town to work together and ask them to fund the schools and not leave us to drown. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Jesse McWilliams from Catuit. I'm Haley's dad. I just really wanted to say, and they're not expecting this, but the staff at BUES is amazing. My daughter has had some real challenges this year, and the administration and the guidance department are stunning in their ability to assist and aid. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say to you folks that have watched a lot of these hearings online in the past few years, they are often contentious. And I wanted to thank you. You do amazing work, and I don't know if you hear it enough. So now that I'm here, I'm going to stand up and say it. Thank you for your compassion, your patience, your resiliency, and your work for our kids. So thank you, and credit again to BUES and their staff. So.
And we're going to give you another 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else for public comment? Come on up.
Come on down.
All right. Seeing no one, public comment is now closed. Item 3.3, School Committee Subcommittee and Liaison Reports. Peter?
No, I'll pass it on to you on the policy.
And I'll give Jen a minute. Do you have a subcommittee tonight?
I just wanted to mention one thing.
Okay. I'll let you get situated. Andre, do you have a subcommittee or liaison report?
Yes, thank you, Kathy. I'm on one subcommittee now. That is the facilities subcommittee. And just wanted to report to the community. Our next meeting will be April 14th at 4 o'clock. Still looking at a number of, MSBOA information, so on and forth. The CFAC resolution was passed recently for a few years going forward. I just want to note I had reservations about some of the items that were included in that and how that was framed. We'll address it going forward, specifically to our athletic facilities and how that information was provided to CFAC about how it's going to improve retention and increase interest, which is all true, of course. You know, when we invest in our athletic facilities, it was not noted that we had spent $10 million in previous years on our athletic facilities, and the athletic facilities in question were our newest and most up-to-date facilities that $500,000 is being invested in. Nobody is more in favor of athletics and the partnership between athletics and education than myself, having graduated from Barnstable and played sports at Barnstable. I certainly, though, have some reservations in terms of how things are being ordered and what the true agenda behind this ordering is. And we're going to be looking at that quite closely moving forward. So again, I thought CFAC works hard, and certainly glad to be in partnership with them. But in looking at the $2.4 million, I believe, that we're receiving, I have some reservations in terms of how we are allotting those in expenditures.
Jen?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to speak briefly about the facility subcommittee. We're going to be convening to talk about fields and just kind of figure out the provenance and who owns what and what the state of repair or disrepair, as it may be. I think we all know the answer to that. And just kind of try to assess what we could do if there's any savings to be had there in the crunch for the budget. That is an annual thing at this point. So that is the next meeting for the facilities subcommittee. But thank you.
Mike?
I have nothing.
Okay. And the policy subcommittee hasn't met, and we do not have a meeting on the books. So I have no other reports. Item 3.4, school committee comments. Jen? Okay. All right, Peter? Nope, all set. Okay, Andre?
Yes, thank you, Kathy. As this is a budget meeting, we've heard from the community very important contributions about this budget process and where we stand right now as a district. I know it's a challenging budget year. Heard from many community members about potential layoffs and resignations. But I want to level set and kind of make it clear where I stand and where we are as a district. First of all, this idea that we have to make layoffs now because they're going to be imminent going forward. I want to make the community aware that the Chapter 70 formula, which determines how much funding goes into districts, is something that our state representatives, our state senators, and our leaders on Beacon Hill are very focused on. And I quote, at the K-12 level, we have maintained a commitment to the Student Opportunities Act, record levels of funding for our public schools, but it has been some time since we closely examined some aspects of K-12 funding and policy, and I hope to tackle this session. This is Senate President Karen Spelenka. Again, talking specifically about the Chapter 70 funding and how it needs to be adjusted for inflation and the cost of certain services such as transportation and special education. I myself, along with other school committee members, have been lobbying for a re-examination of this very formula. I bring this up for the community. When we hear about why we have to cut positions, specifically positions like math coaches, because of what the budget situation will be like next year and the year after that, and this perspective that it's only going to be going down, I've disagreed with that consistently, and I disagree with that today in terms of what budget will be passed. It's been noted at previous meetings. I want to reiterate. I want people working in Barnstable. I favor our personnel over programs and curriculum reviews. That has been my stance. That continues to be my stance. And so for the community members out there, again, this is a budget meeting. We're going to get into this going forward. But I want everyone to present my perspective in terms of where we are and where we're going and how to best navigate it. I think we should obviously make reductions where we need to. Money doesn't grow on trees. But just wholesale getting rid of ESSER positions, irregardless of what their impact is in the classroom and how it's benefiting students, while investing in other potential programs, i.e. curriculum reviews, I do not support. And I have not supported going at all. Thank you.
Mike?
I'm going to save my comments for the budget, when we get to the budget. No, other than that, thank you for everybody who came and talked. It was, other than that, also we're getting, as somebody said, I think it was Andre said maybe, but we're getting towards the end of the year. We only have a couple more meetings until that happens. Please, I guess the firefighter, paramedic and me, please, as the weather starts getting nicer and we're going outside and riding bikes, and just be careful. As everybody starts to go out from the winter, that's when things can kind of go awry. So whether you're riding bikes or walking on the roads or whatever, please just be careful, because a lot of the people are kind of commingling now with the traffic, and it hasn't happened all winter. So just this is a time of year that we need to be a little bit more vigilant if we're driving, and just I want it to be a safe, happy spring. So that, I know it has really nothing to do with school committee, but it's just that time of year. So that's all I got to say.
So I also attended the Little Mermaid play at Barnstable High School this past weekend, which every time I go to one of the presentations, one of the plays, I'm just amazed. I think they can't get any better, and then they do. It was just unbelievably amazing. So I congratulate all the people who were part of that. I want to say thank you to the staff members and the community members who worked endless hours to help the students put on such a wonderful performance. I know they put in endless hours, and it certainly paid off. This past Monday, I participated in the MASC District 7 Engaging with the Public Roundtable. It was great to hear some ideas from other school committee members from our district. And I think we're all struggling with the same issues regarding trying to make sure that the public is informed, that the public is heard, and there were some good ideas tossed around for how we can do a better job as school committees with our engagement. I want to also, my final comment is to say good luck to our DECA students, Grace Curley, Shelby Lacasio, Brendan Wojciechowski, Jaden Jeffries, Harrison Baroni, Mila Valentine, Caroline Curley, Christina Taylor, and Dana Edwards, who are representing Barnstable and have earned the right to compete at the International DECA Conference coming up in a few weeks. So I hope they're able to return and come back with a lot of awards. I'm sure they will. And I hope they'll be able to come and share their experience with us. And that's it. Item 3.
Point of order. Kathy, did another committee member want to speak, or I have my slides?
Oh, I didn't realize you had your slides. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kathy. So as I like to say, Barnstable is a large, it's dynamic, and it's a diverse district. So every month there's a plethora of things to report. This month even more so, as March is one of the longer months going forward. So library students at West Villages completed their Who Is book templates. They drew and wrote 3 facts about someone who they think should have written a book about them. This is at West Villages. Grade 3 Gateway students at Centerville Elementary worked as a team to create a game to practice multiplication. This well-planned creative activity not only reviewed multiplication, but offered mini games within the game, extra challenges. They could be on their way to a fun career path in making games. Read Across America Week took place recently in Barnstable. Thank you to all the community members and staff who volunteered to be guest reading during Read Across America Week. Thank you so much to all of these community members. Thanks to the Cape Cod 5 mini grant, our Barnstable, West Barnstable kindergartners were able to participate in a holly celebration by welcoming in spring and throwing colored chalk with friends and family. Thank you to Cape Cod 5 Savings Bank. At BUS, students were greeted by Mr. Berkowitz with a hearty top of the morning in recognition of St. Patrick's Day. A great way to kick off the week with laughter and joy. Nice job, Mr. Berkowitz. Congratulations at BIS to the Max Courage essay winners who will be published in the 2025 anthology in May. Each team has a winning student this year. Good job to our BIS students. Staying at BIS, 45 of our future problem solvers in grades 7 to 12 were invited to compete at the Massachusetts FPS State Bowl at Clark University in Worcester. Our problem solvers competed against other championship teams from around the state in hopes of representing Massachusetts at the FPS International Conference at Indiana University in June. Winners will be announced going forward. Still at Barnstable Intermediate School. These are our, problem solvers that I just spoke of. Excuse me, let me get these slides. I apologize. These are the 7 to 12 problem solvers. The previous slides were our gateway students. My apologies. These are the problem solvers, and the previous slides were the gateway students. I'm back on track now. Barnstable Public Schools 6th grade students partnered with the Max Warburg Courage Curriculum to write personal narratives of courageous moments in their lives before submitting their essays for national publication. To encourage a sense of belonging and empowerment, this grant allows for teaching artists the craft to craft a visual presentation to students of all ages, thus making every student published in some way or be displayed. Thank you to the Cordial Eye and Artist Space in Hyannis on Main Street. Still at BIS, this is the Scholastic Book Fair run put on by the BISPTO, which reached its sales goal. Thank you so much. And this is our administrator, Principal Tyler Arlington, in a shark and banana suit. To conclude at BIS, kindness is something that involves everyone, and so a number of the students and staff members took part in this activity to spread kindness, which is important. Moving over to the high school. Girls Empowered Leadership Initiative is taking place on April 24th from 8:30 to 5 p.m. This event will be at Woods Hole, and again, is looking at students and girls who are interested in leadership going forward. Much to report at the high school. Mr. Miguel and Miss Mueller's 8th grade 3D and Foundations art class created a coral reef display in the main lobby featuring sea creatures made from cardboard, paper mache, and recycled materials. They observed and recreated textures of all forms, engaging in creative problem solving. The BHS culinary students are getting hands-on experience making delicious chocolate candies. The owner of Candy Corner and Paleo Pizza, Paulo Paraguay, shared his experience on all things chocolate and talked to the students about their businesses. Sweet learning in action. Thank you so much to our local businesses, Candy Corner and Paleo Pizza. Pie Day at BHS. In honor of said, the junior and freshman classes raised money to go to Tommy's Place, which owns and operates year-round magical vacation homes for kids fighting cancer in Falmouth and Centerville. Thanks so much to Officer Stample, who won the votes. Senior Kingston Sanders got to Pie Officer Sample. Pie Day is an annual national celebration of mathematical concepts. And great job for our staff and students at Barnstable High School participating. Still at the high school, our BHS World Language teachers, Victoria Mikowski and Bo Wu, visited the 7th grade Gateway students at BIS to share their knowledge of Latin and Mandarin. The students had an amazing time with the interactive presentations. Thanks so much for our high school teachers going down and spending a bit of their time at the intermediate school. Barnstable High School Coast Guard had an amazing day visiting the Coast Guard Air Station in Buzzards Bay. From exploring aircraft to learning about real-life rescue operations, our cadets got a first-hand look at the critical work the Coast Guard does. A huge thanks to the team at Buzzards Bay for an unforgettable experience. Great job for our Coast Guard. It was a special day recently in Barnstable. Both BIS and BHS students attended a birthday celebration for Freeman K. Johnson, a remarkable World War II veteran and at the Barnstable Adult Community Learning Center. On March 11, Freeman turned 105, making him the oldest registered living citizen in the state. He was honored with the historic Boston Post Kane Award, recognizing the oldest living citizens across New England. His arrival was greeted with a salute from the Barnstable Police and Navy officers, making the day even more unforgettable. Just thrilled to see our students there to participate for this notable event for Mr. Freeman Johnson. And our JROTC color guard proudly kicked off the celebration by presenting the colors, and our cadet executive officer, Mackenzie Anaki, celebrated the special event there. To conclude, it's been noted we've had some tremendous performing arts presentations. This is Encore Night that took place at the high school. A thrilling battle of the band's concert style took place. It was an incredible success featuring amazing performances from our talented music students. Alumni also participated. And there was a special guest by the Nikki and Barn Boys. This is Encore Night at the high school. It's been noted, I cannot say enough about A Little Mermaid and what a tremendous presentation it was. I was fortunate to be there on opening night, and it was tremendous. This year's play, many community members had commented on this, actually had two different casts. So students got a chance to play different roles within the play. So the first 3 days, you got a chance to see one cast, and on the last presentations last weekend on Friday, and then 2 shows on Saturday, you got a chance to see another cast. It incorporated so many different things, and it was really just a tribute to our students, our staff members. And it was also interesting to note that this is the 25th anniversary of the Performing Arts Center, which opened in the year 2000 after renovation, and the drama director, Mary Barth, was a student in those days under the capable leadership of John Sullivan, and so it was quite a moment to see. 25 years later, we have absolutely tremendous presentations. There's been no drop-off whatsoever, and so just a huge shout-out to the Drama Club, everyone that participated. Absolutely out of this world. And just to conclude with winter track that finished up their season, we're going into the spring season, but the winter track had a successful season. A number of PR awards were reached, and these are some of the same students that I know we're going to be seeing out there for the spring season, representing Barnstable with distinction. Great job to our track athletes. Thank you.
Item 3.5, Superintendent's Report. Sarah?
Thank you. I just have a few items tonight. I, too, want to congratulate the cast and crew of The Little Mermaid. It was an amazing production. They did a phenomenal job. Very, very well done. Also in performing arts, the Barnstable Intermediate School and Barnstable High School Jazz Night is coming up. That's going to be on April 15th. I don't know the exact time, but I'm sure it's on our website. Looking forward to that. Wanted to provide you a little bit of an update regarding things that are happening with the facilities department. The Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, is in the process of completing a very comprehensive and very thorough survey of all Barnstable public schools. It began a couple weeks ago, and our Director of Facilities and Deputy Director have been spending many days initially submitting information online through a virtual survey, answering questions, but more than that, uploading documentation, collecting information related to the history of repairs, square footage, major capital projects, including specifications, and then also uploading pictures. So it's been really quite intensive. This is something that they do every 10 years. Fast forward 2 weeks to this current week, and MSBA members are on site with our deputy director and director touring the facilities directly, kind of matching that information to what they are actually seeing in real time. So thank you to Doug and Kotri for working on that. It is taking a tremendous amount of time, but I think it'll be time well spent, even internally, giving them a much more thorough and comprehensive view, as both of them are new to their positions. Coming up next week, the Employee Leadership Academy returns to the town of Barnstable. This is modeled after the Citizens Leadership Academy, which often occurs in the March timeframe of each year. Or we present in the March timeframe. I think it happens all year long. But the Employee Leadership Academy is a week-long event where different departments will be presenting to employees of the town of Barnstable. Kristen and I will be presenting on Tuesday about the school department and look forward to developing relationships and sharing information with town employees regarding our schools. It is a little tricky. School employees and the police department, for example, don't have quite the same access to the Leadership Academy because of the timing, but they are going to record it and make it available. And we're talking and thinking about ways in which we might be able to collaborate a little bit more so that staff have a little bit more of a window into the town departments as well. And last thing, I just feel compelled to say, Paloma brought up Senior Assassin, and I'm going to emphasize that it's not a school-sponsored event, and it is one that I know happens in a lot of communities. There was actually a newspaper article recently about it as well, but I just would urge and pick up where, Mike, you left off regarding safety. It does come with a fair amount of risk, and our young people, although they're seniors and going off to college, don't have the same processing. Their brains aren't fully developed until their mid-20s. And so I ask them and I ask folks who see them to just reinforce safety and take some extra care and caution. So thank you.
Questions or comments? Jen? Peter? Andre? Mike?
So with the stake, who's that? MSBA, so that has nothing to do with us going for the roofs. That just happens every 10, just coincidence?
It's
Is that the same organization?
It's the same organization, and it is connected insofar as they do surveys every 10 years of all districts. So they're surveying all districts. They haven't done it in 10 years. But it's connected in that they'll have a firsthand window into the condition of our facilities, and they'll be able to compare that to our statements of interest.
Yeah,
so they're not looking.
But it's just kind of good luck.
Yeah,
It just happened to kind of
Yep.
fall at the same time.
Same time, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'm all set, so thank you. Item 3.6, Assistant Superintendent's Report.
Thank you. I have two brief items. I wanted to provide an update on our current curriculum reviews, as I had shared previously, but we are getting close to our decision. So the health, K-12 health curriculum review will wrap up. And I use that term loosely because there's a lot of work that happens after this, but the consensus meeting is scheduled for April 11th. At that time, the group will review all data, feedback, and surveys. They will have a group discussion regarding all of the information that has been provided and shared and the experiences of the pilot teachers, and they will hold their vote on the selected program. It would either be the Michigan model or Health Smart, and that recommendation will then come forward to the superintendent for approval. Following closely behind health is secondary math, 6 through 12. So we've been engaging in our curriculum review throughout this year. The consensus meeting will be held on April 30th. And this week, both BIS and BHS, using department meetings, had a chance for pilot teachers to really share their experiences with the non-piloting teachers. And in fact, I was at the math department meeting at the high school this afternoon, and they had selected two, just as a model, 2 lessons, one from each program, same lesson, and so that they could really do a comparison side by side of what it might look like. So again, and then the pilot teachers were kind of talking through how they would be using how they were using the various lessons and the comparisons. So it was a really nice collaborative conversation. And as a reminder, the two programs we're looking at are Carnegie and Reveal. And again, the consensus meeting on April 30th, where they will identify their selection, which will again come to the superintendent for her review. And then my second item, I don't know if you all recall, but last year, around this time, I had been meeting with new educators for our mid-year check-in conversations. Maybe I'm a little behind schedule. So I'm actually going to be starting check-in meetings, but this go around with our staff who have been in the district for 8 to 10 years. So this was a suggestion from the committee of, what about the voices of our more veteran staff? So I have meetings coming in, everyone's scheduling their appointments. I'm really excited to hear their views and get their perspectives on very similar questions that were asked of new educators last year. Really essentially learning about, what has kept them in Barnstable, what's contributed to their decision to stay here for 8, 10, and hopefully more. If they were to consider leaving the district, what factors might influence that, and what their perspectives on the school and district culture, and how the district has supported their professional growth. Just to, a few questions, sample questions that I'll be using, but I'm really looking forward to really seeing those responses, which I will share with the committee probably in June, and have that comparison of their perspectives versus our new educators. So more to come.
Jen, any comments? Peter?
I'll be looking forward to hear. That's a great idea, the more experienced educators, and I'll look forward to your report in June. Thanks.
Andre?
No comments.
Mike? So I just have a question about the math review. So does part of the process include the teachers who are piloting, reaching out to other districts that have used it? And do they examine their other district data to see, once it's implemented, if there's improvement? Do they incorporate that into their?
Yes, so that was part of our original identification process, was looking at similar districts and their experience with the program. So we're looking for districts with similar demographics. And then, yes, actually, most recently, we had the curriculum coordinator and 2 of the pilot teachers actually reached out to Brockton to talk with their teachers and department lead to hear their experience with one of the programs. So we're continuing that. That will be another piece of the data that we're looking at. In addition to the feedback, the surveys, we have, because of the age level of the students with the pilot, we have student surveys as well. And then we'll be bringing in the feedback that we have from the other districts that we're able to connect with. Yeah.
I know Monomoy is using
Yes.
Carnegie.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
so I hope they reached out to Monomoy.
I actually, interestingly enough, in the assistant superintendent's Cape-wide, we meet monthly, and so I had the opportunity to talk with both them and DY briefly, but that was from the assistant superintendent perspective. So yes, we have some of those conversations, but I also would say looking at trying to see districts that are more similar to Barnstable as well, making sure that we're getting the full, yeah. Thank you.
So I just hope those teachers do have some time to reach out teacher to teacher, because I think that classroom teacher experience is a good indicator.
Yes, and I would be remiss to, our curriculum council for both the health and the math are teachers from various grade levels, representative, special ed and EL as well. And they are really doing, like, that's the legwork that they're doing, but the time, the energy, the work that they have done to help develop, design, and really support the pilot is tremendous, so.
Yeah, that's good to know that local, you said Monomoy and DY maybe?
I know Monomoy is using,
Yeah,
because
that's-
I know people over there.
Yeah, that would be good
Yeah.
information to grab, that's for sure.
Right. Okay, thanks, Kristen. New business, item 4.1, resolution on fiscal year 26 education funding. This resolution it's included in your packet tonight, and I've asked that it be displayed so that we don't have to read the whole thing, is in line with what some other districts are drafting, to basically present the position that we need more funding coming from the state. And so I am proposing that we vote on this and hopefully approve it to show that it is critical that we have the state support funding our schools and making sure that we can meet the student needs in our district. So I don't know if anybody else had been aware of this.
I'll move to approve the resolution FY26 education funding as presented tonight's materials.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 4.2, revised school committee 2025-2026 meeting schedule. This, we did approve the meeting schedule, but it was based on the past practice of MASC holding its conference the first weekend
First week of
in
November.
November. And it's been moved to the second week of November. So to allow school committee members, it begins on Wednesday and runs through the weekend, to allow any school committee members to attend as well as the superintendent. The revised schedule has rescheduled the November meeting to November 5.
Okay.
And that's the only change.
Move to approve the revised school committee 2025-2026 meeting schedule as presented in tonight's material.
I'll second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Finance and facilities business, item 5.1, approve the fiscal year 26 school budget. Chris and Sarah, or
Yeah,
Chris?
thank you.
Okay.
I think I'll present from here, and Chris is available with any questions, if that's okay. Andre, can I have the clicker? Okay, so we just have a few slides to ground the recommended budget. Yeah, it's too many syllables there. I was putting operating together with it. Recommended budget. Recommended operating budget. So we just have a few slides to sort of summarize where we are. And an updated budget book is also in your packet materials with a lot more detail. I want to really commend Chris Dwelly in particular for all of the detail work that goes on behind the scenes. And we presented a budget, an initial budget on March 5th, and there have been iterations behind the scenes that have occurred as we've really tried to work to find every dollar to support the budget and bring forward a balanced budget to you. And that includes some recent events that occurred where we have tried to save money and save positions, and also perhaps be able to save non-PTS staff. And so there are a couple of changes to highlight. So tonight is the budget adoption, and we will then propose an approved budget to the town manager pending your vote. The changes since the budget hearing, there had been some collaborative conversations with the Barnstable's Teachers Association related to kind of relaxing notification related to sick leave buyback and longevity buyout to see if we could entice any educators to retire June 30th. And that could result potentially in a savings to the district, as they are often higher priced positions, and potentially also for a position that's reduced, if it could be absorbed by retirement, preserve a non-PTS staff member. So that resulted in the voluntary retirement of a science teacher, a social studies teacher, and a preschool educator. which enabled the reinstatement of a non-PTS science teacher and social studies teacher, and also generated about $35,000 in favorability. So with that $35,000 of favorability, we reinstated one of the teaching assistants at Barnstable High School who is a bilingual paraprofessional. So that will leave 2 bilingual paraprofessionals at the high school, one paid for out of Title III, one paid for out of the operating budget, and we'll go from 2 bilingual paras to 1 at the intermediate school to be paid out of Title III. These personnel changes left $1,989 in available operating budget funds, and so we adjusted the special ed out-of-district tuition by this amount to balance the budget. And this is a slide that you've seen before, and there's very little change here in terms of the revenue sharing allocation, but what would have changed, I think, would be anything related to special ed out-of-district tuition. Maybe some in salaries. Do you want to speak to this at all, Chris? And so we're bringing forward this as a recommended budget, $93,622,700, or a 4.75% increase. And you can see, and the motion is worded where the money is being allocated from, whether it's from an appropriation or from the savings account. And the motion details a little bit more about revolving fund application. You've seen this slide before as well in terms of the funding sources. I don't think there's much of a change there from the budget hearing. There's no change from the budget hearing. And then your more detailed look at cost centers. So very similar to the budget hearing, but minor tweaks based on the changes that I highlighted before. And then the detail based on DESI function. Again, only minor changes from before. Next steps would be to submit this budget to the town manager, and then we would present at public budget hearings to the town council in the month of June. Any questions or comments at this point?
Jen?
No. I do have a question, though, when we get to the curriculum review cycle, using the savings account for that. Are we going to?
Is this the time?
This would be the time.
This is the time.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
so
is the time.
I know you probably don't have it here, but you did email us a copy of that, and I wanted to just ask you to go over it because
Sure.
I want to make sure I understand it, because the way I see it, it is almost an annual thing that we're supporting from the savings account, big curriculum review things.
So it is a framework, a proposed framework, and kind of a regular refresh of curriculum is something that could be expected. It is something that is within our control, within your control and decision-making, authority related to whether or not that's how it will get applied. But the idea is that over the next several years, we have a curriculum review like the ones Kristen has been talking about for our major content areas. We pared it back from some of the minor content areas, but chose to focus and really alternate in every other year so that big costs are not included every year, recognizing the financial situation. And I don't think we know exactly what the future holds with respect to any changes. Changes at the state level often take some time.
Yeah. Well, do you have the slides so the public could see it by any chance?
I would need a minute, but I can bring it up.
Yeah, I just feel like it's important to look at it because, we have, these are past years, but 23, 24, 26 grand. 24, 25, $562,000. 25, 26, $500,000. then $60,000, then $430,000. So it hits $500,000 a bunch of times until finally we get to the year 31, 32, and we're at $700,000. So I just think that it's a big. I know we want to call it a one-time cost, but it's a recurring cost, I'm afraid. So I just think it's important that everybody see that in the budget. And I'm amazed at how expensive these curriculum reviews are. And I'm sure someone has the corner on it all and there's no competition and, the way it always is. But it's staggering that the taxpayer comes up with this money for one-time costs, in my opinion.
So, Kristen, can you explain what goes into the actual cost of the actual curriculum items? Not the review, because the review is personnel, but once a curriculum is adopted, which is the majority of the cost, is what I believe, and how many years that plays out and how that works.
So when we make a purchase of a program, we do look at multi-year. They are typically 5 or 6 years. We can purchase for 3, but again, with our curriculum cycle, we're looking at the longer window. And of course, the more years, when you figure out the annual cost, it is slightly less than if you did a 3-year. And when you're purchasing a program, again, it does vary from program to program, but the purchase would include the teacher materials. It would also be, for some of these, there's student workbooks, and so those are consumables. So each year we would get a new set, so that would be built into the cost. I think I might be going beyond your question, but in terms of the curriculum review cycle, we also have to include professional development costs. So that's part of the full package. You did mention staffing, like the stipends.
But it's a cost that once this particular cost for this particular review, it's the materials for a number of years.
Yep.
And if you, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you don't commit to a program for a number of years, you can't keep switching on and off on a program and expect to see success.
Right. We're absolutely looking for something that, multi-year for sure, partially because of the investment, of course, but really just the professional development that's involved, the planning, for teachers to really internalize the materials and be able to utilize them. I would never want to switch every year, other year, never, no.
Even
Sorry.
from an being educationally sound, it is,
Absolutely.
you can't, it's
No,
like
it
a
has to be-
medication. You can't keep switching your meds every single day and expect them to work,
Absolutely.
right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, you want?
My only question is just, Jen, I don't disagree with you. The problem is we haven't had a review. None of these programs have been reviewed, and I know we talked about the math at the K through 5 because that's what's on the budget this year, and that we figured out to be around 8 years is the last time it was reviewed. 8 or 9 years, probably
7
when
or
it was
8, yeah.
reviewed.
Yep.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years when it was reviewed. I know the math program at the for the high school level. When was the last time that was reviewed? I mean, just guesstimate. Was it?
Probably the same.
So we're talking about programs that have been around.
Oh, absolutely.
So we should have been doing this all along. We shouldn't have, that's the kind of the problem is you folks are starting the process, but it should have never stopped from 8 or 9 years ago.
Right, and,
So we're using old programs that are, I don't want to say outdated because that's not, but they've been around for a while and not necessarily the latest in tech, in educational practice.
Yeah, and I think, it could be, if a curriculum review could result in, we look at a series of programs and we say, we just want to continue with the same program, but in the, the newest version, right? Because even the publishing companies will do their updates every 5, 6, sometimes longer, but not too often, years. So it could be, if we had, X program, and the curriculum review could yield that we are staying with X program, but it's the newer addition because of a lot of the changes, the supports and resources that are now available for multilingual learners, that publishers are building into their materials, just as an example.
Peter?
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. I have debated this budget with the rest of the school committee, and I've read and hopefully responded to all who have emailed me their thoughts and suggestions regarding the budget. And some were very helpful. This administration has worked nonstop trying to find alternative means of funding to provide for a budget without cutting jobs. However, as hard as all have tried, I have come to the conclusion that we simply cannot overcome the drastic funding cuts coming from the state of Massachusetts. The Student Opportunity Act has provided our town with approximately $9 million over 2 years. We rely on this money to create a budget. However, this year we receive about $160,000. How can anyone create a budget when drastic cuts like these happen? The governor has failed the students of Barnstable with their budget, and frankly, I really don't see much help coming from our local representatives either. We are in a difficult spot in Barnstable, as many towns are trying to fund all the needs of our district. In the State House, not even coming close to adding their fair share. We've discussed many budget items trying to save jobs, especially the math curriculum money for the elementary schools, as I was first opposed to keeping this in our budget. But some of the emails from staff have changed my mind. The teachers have been asking for this curriculum help for years. We want and expect, for example, better MCAS scores, but shouldn't we fund the appropriate materials needed for this? I think I could be called a hypocrite if I didn't fund this item and then criticize future MCAS scores. I've come to the conclusion that although we have creatively saved some jobs will need to be cut, as much as I dislike it. We also have next year to worry about as well. The budget forecast is gloomy, and I certainly have no faith in the state coming through to save us. So I plan on voting to pass this budget proposal.
Andre, do you have anything different to add to your previous statement on the budget?
I do. Thanks, Kathy. So I respect my colleagues' view on this, but I'm going to come at this a different way. I see our legislators looking at, first of all, the Chapter 70 funding, and then additionally the proposed cuts, dare I say proposed cuts from Washington in relation to education. And I see our legislators fighting back and saying that we are not going to just allow these proposed cuts to take place. We are going to continue to work to fund Massachusetts public schools. So I respect my colleagues' view from the state perspective and then beyond that. But as I've said before, I see our legislators looking at this seriously and saying, how can we keep Massachusetts atop the national rankings in education? Back to Barnstable specifically. Are curriculum reviews helpful? Are they beneficial? Yes, I agree with that. Is it something that we want to have in Barnstable? Yes. But if you put a review and you juxtapose that against a person and a personnel member, a staff member, I am going to favor, as an educator, the educator who's in the classroom consistently. And that's where we find ourselves. And I've made it clear before, and that's my position right now, is that I've heard from community members as well. And each community member that I'm hearing from, they're talking about the math coaches, they're talking about the math interventionists, and they're talking about the curriculum review. And if we can't have all three, then I say the curriculum review goes and we keep the interventionists and the math coaches.
Mike?
Actually, I just got a question and I apologize. It's about the budget, but it's about the last thing about that resolution, I guess, but it's also tied into the budget. My question is, the Opportunities Act, like Peter said, we were supposed to get a ton of, that was the, when was the last review on a state level is how much money we got? 1993, I believe it was. What was it called? I just went completely blank at what it was called.
Ed Reform was 93.
Yeah.
The Foundation Budget Review Commission was back in 2015, and that's what set up the Student
That's what set up
Opportunity
this.
Act.
So, so the last time it was looked at was 1993, right? And then what they did is in 2015, they said, well, educating kids has changed a lot since 1993, and we realize it's more expensive. So therefore, we're going to look at how we fund it, and that's where the Opportunities Act came from. And they realized they were shorting us about $3 or $4 million a year. So my question is, and then why did they stop funding us? Has the kids changed in Barnstable suddenly? What was their?
So
what was? Did they run out of money?
It's related to property tax values and the expectation of the state on the local ability to pay.
Okay.
And then at the same time, we also had an enrollment drop, so that, but that's lesser to, there's a target that they expect the town to pay of 82.5% versus 17.5%, and that was skewed for a little bit.
But why did we get it for a couple of years and then all of a sudden they changed? Did they change that formula after a couple of years?
They changed the expectation of what Barnstable would pay due to the increased property values.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, so they gave it to us for a couple. And I know because I was a chair at that point. They never told us we were going to get it for 2 years and then not get it again. Because I remember having conversations with people in the hierarchy saying, like, is this forever? And they were like, Mike, it's state law, so we're guaranteed, quote, we're guaranteed that money forever.
We thought it was going to be sustained, yeah.
Right. I mean, and it's not that the hierarchy did anything wrong. That's just kind of what we were getting from the State House, is it was going to be.
And they've sustained it. It's the increase year over year that's not going up as much as it was. Right. So you said, we were getting, 4 million. Now it's 4,163,000. That 4 million is still sustained, but it's only 163.
Is what it's going up, where it was going up before. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. And how is this legislation they're talking about, is that changing the Chapter 70? Are they changing the formula, or is that going to benefit us, or is it going to be, here's another, like, how is that? Do you have any idea? And if you don't worry about it. I'm just kind of curious as to how that would affect Barnstable. Do you know?
I think there's, I think it's early. I think that it's early. I think there's still, across all of the municipalities, some work that needs to be done to try to figure out how to tweak the formula yet again. So I don't know if they'll pull together another foundation budget review commission and take a look
at it
and
again.
Analyze it. Yep. But I think that there is some recognition that, for example, the formula here is markedly different than the economics as it relates to the demographics of the students.
So it's because our house values are so high is why we lost out. Not because of the kids or not because of socioeconomics of our people that live here. It's the fact that
property values.
This is strictly was property value. Yeah. Okay, I'm just curious. That's what I kind of thought, but I just wanted to kind of get the public to kind of realize.
And there was a surplus with the fair share monies, and so there are some supplemental appropriations coming from the state. So that's another conversation that's being had, but that's not going to be sustained. That
no,
would be
it's
kind
a
of
one-time bonus
support. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So, if you remember, about a year ago, we. About a year ago, there was another resolution about the Chapter 70, and there was a gentleman who was on the Haverhill School Committee, Thomas Graneman. He's an economist. And so he did.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. I apologize for the interference, a technical glitch. So he had put together a bunch of calculations and looking at the formula and doing an analysis. And his estimate was that Barnstable would have an increase of about $5 million if the way he constructed the funding formula was accepted. And that funding formula proposal went up to the State House with the resolutions. So I'd have to go back and reread it. I did look through it at the time to see how he was calculating it. And the biggest difference was the fact that he was taking the viewpoint that this is really an urban school. And that our socioeconomic base requires more funding. And he took that all into consideration.
I do remember this, yes.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there?
You know, I have not followed up with Mr.
Well, that would have died it was last legislative
Oh, that's kind of the
session, so
point
that
I'm
would've
trying to
died.
make.
So this
Yeah,
is
there
kind
you
of
go.
the next year. Every year it has to be refiled, so
Right,
that was,
right.
that died
Yeah.
on the Hill, and now
Yeah.
they're refiling, and that's
Well,
what this is.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Refile.
And I haven't touched base with that gentleman to find out where they're at. And so I will follow up and try and have an answer to where this initiative is from the school committee perspective. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I want to make sure that it's clear that I am not disparaging the work of Sarah or Chris or anyone. I totally understand everything that went into it and all the hard choices that were made. It's just this takes me by surprise, and that's it. And maybe it's because I'm new, but like I feel like, you know, it's like $3.65 million approximately over the course of, what is it, 10 years there, or whatever, 11 years, I guess. That's a lot of money for curriculum review. That comes out of a savings account, which is for one-time expenditures. And that's my point. Thank you.
Can I make a motion? I move.
Wait a minute, I got to recuse myself. I'm going to recuse myself, and I'm going to leave the room.
Okay.
I move to adopt a budget of $5,014,182 for the cost center entitled Hyannis West Elementary School for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025.
Having a
Discussion.
motion made and seconded.
Discussion. Okay, so we're just, we're voting on the budget in these three individual components. I just had to see that. Thank you. That's all.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And I'll need to recuse myself.
Move to adopt a budget of $24,673,589 for the cost center entitled Barnstable High School for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
I'll leave for Peter. Actually, do you mind if I start reading it? Move to adopt a total budget of $96,370,478 for the school department for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, to be funded by an appropriation of $89,896,868, subject to change depending on the final state aid received by the town, and expenditure not to exceed $1,947,778 from the circuit breaker revolving fund, and expenditure not to exceed $200,000 from the transportation fee revolving fund, and expenditure not to exceed $600,000 from the school choice tuition revolving fund, and funds not to exceed $3,725,832 from the school department savings account.
I'll second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 5.2, approve fiscal year 26 fees schedule.
So in your packet is the fee schedule that was presented to you at a previous meeting with increased fees for transportation, facilities rentals, and athletics.
Move to approve FY26 fee schedule as presented in tonight's materials.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 5.3, approve fiscal year tuition rates for Barnstable Daycare and Pre-K program at Barnstable High School.
Thank you. In your packet is a proposal to increase tuition rates. I'll let Kristen talk a little bit more about it. She's done a ton of research in this area.
Thank you. So, yes, in your packet, there is an outline of the proposed increase to the employee daycare tuition rates. This is coming to you where we've, through some data collection, we are finding, and this was provided, that our infant care and toddler care rates are below, and in some cases well below, those of the local daily rates. Our pre-K is more on par, so you'll see that that has a lesser increase. We are looking at a $4 increase per day for infant care, $4 increase per day for toddler care, and a $3 increase per day for pre-K. In the information provided, using anticipated enrollment for next year, have provided you with the total intake for tuition next year, the anticipated salaries that would be going out for next year. Our program does continue to grow. We will need an additional pre-K teacher, assistant in our pre-K room. So that would certainly help to support that. And then, as indicated at the very bottom of the document, one of the pieces that we have been looking into is some improvements on the playground. We did have a consultant come out and look at that last year to give us an estimate, which was well beyond what we had anticipated. And this was for some, just resurfacing, upgrading the fencing. And so that came out back as quite a bit more. I did indicate the quoted amount, but that's just the kind of exterior. We really are looking at upgrading the playground fixtures, thank you, the equipment for the children. And so this would give us an opportunity to really start to dig deeper into that, but would also secure funds so that we can get the more immediate needs done sooner rather than later. So if you have any questions.
So I would say those initial needs are safety concerns. Mm-hmm. So that's a definite.
The fencing
that we
and the
need
surfacing,
to do
yes.
that.
Yes.
Right. Does anybody have any questions? Peter.
Yes, Kristen and I have talked about this. I believe this is employee paid for that we're talking about here, and there's some $400,000 in a savings or extra. Is that correct? Which would cover the playground is my point. The playground isn't being paid for based off of these slight increases.
Right, so the employee daycare program is self-funded.
Correct.
So it is not paid for through district funds, district allocations. So any money to pay staff, to purchase supplies, purchase new cribs, anything like that is fully funded by the tuition.
And we have a surplus currently?
I would have to look to Chris for the current surplus. Sorry, Chris.
He's looking.
And so there is, again, in the numbers that I've provided, the coming in and the going out, yes, we have a little cushion that would allow us to start some of the work on the playground, but it would not provide us with we wouldn't be able to fully do the whole project. I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question.
So I think, Peter, it shows it at that 400,000.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a total. So that comes in and it goes back out. And then there's at the end of the year, there would be a carryover balance. From what I understand, the carryover balance is not sufficient to cover all the safety improvements, and they're trying to increase that carryover amount or increase that cushion between simply paying salaries and supplies so that they can do larger improvements for the children.
Yes, I understand. I was just looking for
Yeah,
that
what's in the bank account?
carryover.
Yeah,
What's in
yeah,
the bank
what's the
account?
surplus? Yeah.
If I understand everything that's going
Yeah.
on here,
Chris
but if I
has-
were
I think
sitting
that
at home
I
and
would
saying,
think it isn't, because remember a couple of years ago, we looked at raises for those folks, and we had to
Yep.
remember we were worried about that we were going to run out of money if we went too high. Remember like we were trying to keep that, like, give raises, but we also didn't want to bankrupt the program
Right,
either,
right.
right? So and that was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
It was. I was here, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a couple.
yep,
Chris has the amount.
we're anxiously awaiting.
The slow walk.
The balance through the end of February is $175,194.
Okay, so go ahead.
But does that include the expenses still have to, I guess, so, but that's not including the expenses for the rest of the year coming out of that $175,000?
It's not, nor does that count any additional revenue that will be received throughout
So I
the
think
fiscal year.
Peter's
That's
question
the current
is-
fund balance
So I
through the
think,
end of
Peter,
February.
to ask your question, at the end of the year, when all the bills are paid, how much money extra do we have in that account, would you, approximately, or last year?
Oh, well, give me one more minute and I can
That,
figure,
isn't that
and
kind
I'll
of your
figure that out for
But
you.
Peter, isn't that kind of your question?
That is my question, because if I'm a parent, a teacher who has my kids there, and I hear there's a surplus, and I go, well, if there's a surplus, why are we going up? And so that's my question. And if the surplus isn't enough to take care of the playground equipment, then we need to increase the rate. So I get it. I'm just wondering what the surplus is.
And I wonder what the scope is for the needs on the playground as well. Like we've never seen that, have we? Like,
If you saw it, you would see, if you saw it, you would know.
Yeah, it's
they're super expensive. Playgrounds are like wicked expensive. So
Yeah, it's a pretty,
175 is like the planning for it.
It's
you
in
know?
tough shape.
Yeah.
I think the cost of it keeps going up as well because of the compliance issues for ADA. So if you do the playground over, you can't just put a structure for a structure either. Yeah.
So last fiscal year, the net change in that fund was minus $18,000. So that's all the revenue for the year. That's all the expenses. It's tracking the same so far through February. So given the increase that we gave to those employees, I would estimate that the ending balance would be $154,000 approximately. Yep.
Okay. My questions have been answered.
Anybody else? All right.
Move to approve the FY26 tuition rates for the Barnstable Daycare and Pre-K program at Barnstable High School as presented in tonight's materials.
I'll second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 5.4, approve the accounts payable warrant, fiscal year 25, warrant number 39.
Move to approve accounts payable warrant FY25 warrant number 39 in the amount of $954,212.89.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Consent agenda, item 6.1 and 6.2. Tonight's consent agenda includes the approval of the school committee meeting minutes of March 5, 2025, and the special school committee meeting minutes of March 26, 2025.
Move to approve the items in the consent agenda.
Oh. Yikes. March 19.
Move to approve the items in the consent agenda as presented in tonight's material.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 7.1, executive session. Move to go into executive session to reconvene in open session to approve the school committee executive session minutes of March 19, 2025, and March 26, 2025, to discuss strategy and preparation for the negotiations with the Barnstable Administrators Organization, to discuss strategy and preparation for negotiations with the Barnstable Teachers Association, to approve a memorandum of agreement with the Barnstable Teachers Association regarding working conditions for the Enoch Cobb Early Learning Center, a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and/or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, Dave Bedeau, Lee Doherty, Sandy Gifford, Mary Beth Taylor, Eric Brunage, and Kim Stolowski, to discuss the terms and conditions of non-affiliated personnel contracts and to discuss salary adjustments for non-affiliated personnel.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, this is a roll call vote. Jen? Yes. Peter?
Yes.
Andre?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We'll now move into executive session. open session. We have item 8.1, approve the employment contract for the Youth Development Coordinator.
Move to approve the 3-year employment contract for the Youth Development Coordinator, Lee Doherty, beginning on July 1, 2025, with a base salary of $88,164 and other terms as presented in tonight's materials.
Second.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.2, approve the employment contract for the Executive Director of Social Emotional Learning and Student Services.
Move to approve the 3-year employment contract for the Executive Director of Social Emotional Learning and Student Services, Mary Beth Taylor, beginning on July 1, 2025, with a base salary of $147,525.28 and other terms, and as presented in tonight's materials.
I'll second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.3, approve the non-affiliated salary increase for fiscal year '26.
Move to approve a non-affiliated salary increase of 3% for FY '26, except 3 positions as presented in tonight's material.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.4, approve a memorandum of agreement with the Barnstable Teachers Association regarding working conditions for the Ena Cobb Early Learning Center.
Move to approve a memorandum of agreement with the Barnstable Teachers Association regarding working conditions for the Ena Cobb Early Learning Center as presented in tonight's materials.
I second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.5, approve revised Ena Cobb Early Learning Center Special Education Teacher Job Description.
Move to approve the revised Ena Cobb Early Learning Center Special Education Teacher Job Description as presented in tonight's materials.
Second.
Having a motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion's made to adjourn. This is a roll call. Jen? Yep. Peter?
Yes.
Andre?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.